This episode of Phone Buff is brought to you by Carbonite. Start your free trial at carbonite.com with offer code PhoneBuff and get 2 bonus months if you decide to buy. What's up guys, David here, and welcome back to another episode of Phone Buff Q&As, the show where you can ask me just about any question you want, related or unrelated to mobile technology, and where I get to ask you guys, that's right, your opinion matters here, weekly questions via polls on our Facebook fan page. You can be a part of the polls by liking us at facebook.com/phonebuff and get your questions answered by asking us on Twitter at PhoneBuff. I'll have all the links you need down below, but for now, let's go ahead and get started. Twitter follower Hyroon Mepage asks, what version of the Galaxy S4 do you like, TouchWiz or Play Edition? The short answer is I like both, but if I had to choose one and only one, I think I have to go with the Play Edition. While TouchWiz has a bunch of great features that are really cool, especially when you're trying to show off to your friends, sometimes they can just kind of get in the way. With stock Android and the quick updates that come along with it, the high-end hardware on the Galaxy S4 just really shines, and it's just an awesome experience for me being the stock Android fan that I am. Calum asks, is the new Nexus 7 a failure or success in your eyes, and what would you change? Considering that the first Nexus 7 was a huge success, I can't really imagine it being anything but. I mean, this time around, Google and ASUS took that winning formula from the original Nexus 7 and made it even better by addressing some of the weaknesses it had on the first gen, like including a 1080p screen, doubling the RAM, giving it respectable dual stereo speakers which were desperately needed, and all the while keeping the price relatively low. As far as what I'd change, out of anything I'd have to say the processor. Now, don't get me wrong, the Snapdragon S4 Pro inside the Nexus 7 is still a beast and handles just about anything you throw at it flawlessly, but I feel like in a year or two, it might get a little dated considering the fact that it's not exactly cutting edge right now, being almost a year old. But with that said, I'm really liking the Nexus 7, which I'll tell you more about in the upcoming review. Hunter Henriksen asks, how many phones do you have in your collection? That's a good question, and I couldn't really answer it off the top of my head, so I pulled out all those boxes, and not counting any review units, I have just over 20 devices at this point. I should probably do a giveaway, huh? Rob Cofield asks, do you think the possibility of an iPhone 5C lower cost solution was meant to compete with the HTC One Mini and S4 Mini? I'd say yes and no. If the iPhone 5C rumors end up being true, the new phone would definitely compete with the likes of the One and Galaxy S4 Mini. But I don't think Apple would be doing it only to compete with those two phones. Instead, they'd be doing it to grab a bigger share of that entry-level to mid-level smartphone market. Historically, Apple just slashed the prices of existing iPhone models when a new one came out, and those kind of acted as their entry and mid-level options. The iPhone 5C would still be serving the same purpose, but with two major advantages. For one, Apple will be able to market an entirely new phone. I mean, we never really saw an iPhone 4 or 4S commercial after the iPhone 5 came out, but I bet we'll be seeing a bunch of iPhone 5C commercials, which definitely should help them capture more of that market. And the second advantage is Apple could potentially increase the profit margin with the iPhone 5C compared to just slashing the prices of existing models by using more cost-effective materials in the 5C compared to that on the more premium materials they used in smartphones like the iPhone 5 or 4S. Of course, as of right now, the iPhone 5C, or whatever Apple might call their budget iPhone, is still a rumor and is nowhere near official, but I think it would make sense for them to do it considering the two advantages I just mentioned. At the same time though, Apple's been doing it the way they have been for so long now that it'd be interesting to see if they actually change their sales model. I asked you guys via PhoneBuzz's Facebook poll, which mobile OS do you think will eventually win the battle for third place after Android and iOS? And it seems like most of you think it'll be Windows Phone with 76% of the vote. Coming in at second place and a little bit of a surprise was Ubuntu with 18% of the vote, and in third, or in last depending on how you want to look at it, only 5% of you think that BlackBerry will eventually capture that up for grabs spot behind Android and iOS. As far as the results go, I totally agree with you guys and think that Windows Phone will be able to keep that spot as the third place OS locked down. I mean, with a company as big as Microsoft backing it, and with great handset manufacturers like Samsung, HTC, and especially Nokia really embracing Windows Phone, I don't really see any other OS even coming close. In fact, I think the things that are really holding Windows Phone back right now are the lack of apps compared to Android and iOS, and the lack of ultra high-end smartphones with 1080p screens, quad-core processors, and all that stuff. Once Windows Phone gets those two things, I think it'll still be in third place, but it'll have a much larger share of the pie. At least it should. Alright guys, that's it for me in this episode of Phone Buff Q&As. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them on Facebook and Twitter. Again, the links will be down below. But otherwise, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for weekly Q&A videos just like this. Thank you for watching.